and welcome to this video. My name is Eva, and today I'm going to talk a little bit about the topic surrender versus action. I know it's a very interesting topic and very important topic for so many people who I'm working with, and there is misunderstanding there. And also, David Buckland wrote a blog post about it, about taking action, and this kind of inspired me. Recording this video, it was a few weeks back, so I'm just gonna link it below this video. So if you're interested, you can read the blog post. He did a really good job in describing all of that as well. But I just thought I'm also gonna share just with my words about this topic, because there are misunderstandings about the word surrender. It was the same for me for a long time. So what does surrender really mean? And I know that there are people who think surrender means not doing anything, so not taking any actions and just waiting for things to happen by themselves. And I know, of course, in a lot of spiritual books and teachings and all of that, the word surrender is just used a lot of times, and it's kind of confusing a little bit, right? So to break down the word surrender, I like to use the word allowing and accepting. It's just a little bit before surrender. So energetically, it's just a little bit before that. So allowing what is and accepting what is. So from that point of view, surrender just means to have an open system. So whatever life is presenting, you just allow it and accept it. And with that, you have an open system energetically. And whatever is happening, so all the emotions, all the triggers, the energies, they can just flow through. So if you are in situations you prefer, or if you are in situations you don't prefer, it doesn't really matter. With an open system, you just have the experience of the situation for a certain amount of time, and then it just leaves the system. Okay, that's what it is on an energetical level. So basically, for example, when you're in a situation that you don't prefer, you can also surrender, and to be in a situation that you prefer, same thing, also surrender. Just having this openness, okay, I allow it and accept it. So surrender is something that becomes then eventually your natural state. So when the system stays open, it's just there all the time. So it's a constant surrender to everything that life is presenting. But before that, we kind of can practice it or can decide to surrender certain things. And what does it exactly mean? So it's not that you stop doing and just wait for things to happen. It's more like you just go through your everyday life. You, of course, need to plan certain things. You know, when you go on a vacation, work-wise, you need to plan certain things. When you have projects, you just navigate through your everyday life as usual. We always live in the present moment, right? So this is all there actually is. The past and the future is an illusion. Although until this breaks down, this illusion, we experience it. But just saying, everything is happening in the present moment. And we just surrender whatever life is presenting to us with taking actions at the same time. So we take actions towards something, just an example. We want to go on a vacation, we book a hotel, then we get there, and then they tell us, okay, the booking got lost, like you don't have a spot. And then you just surrender, okay, this is just how life is presenting itself, this is just how it is, I allow it. And then you just go to the hotel next door and ask them if there's a free spot available, and they say yes, and then you even get a better room with sea view, because the other room would have been without. So mostly life is giving you even the better option. And so it's really true. And I think it's actually quite funny, but this is really when we just surrender. And basically what's happening is, when we would go to the first hotel and we say, no, like we close down the system, we have resistance, towards how life is presenting itself to us. So we don't prefer that. No, I booked this room, I want this room, and I don't care, I'm not gonna leave the hotel until I get a room or something like that. Let's just say you would have gotten a room somewhere in the basement without windows. You know what I mean? Or you say, no, I'm sick of it. I go back home. I don't want to be on vacation. I just go back home and and that's it. Like you can't enjoy your vacation. The energy are staying in the system. So you're probably going to be grumpy and annoyed and angry for multiple days or weeks. The energies are not passing through. And if you tell your friends about it in 3 months, then all these energies come back up and you're just so annoyed about this hotel and all of that. So it's just a very simple example. But since holidays are starting, I think it's a good one. And this is really what it is about. So we do planning. We just go navigate through our everyday life. We engage in life in every possible way, but there is no persistence to the outcome. So, of course, we want to go on a vacation. This is why we go there. But how it's manifesting, of course, we would have preferred to be in that hotel because it would have been easier, but then it just manifested in a different way and we were able to go into the next one. We even got a better room. It's just a simple example. So it's really important to take actions as well. So that's really what it is. It's very simple. And then another example, surrender in meditation, for example. So when you're told, okay, just surrender everything. So you sit there, you have aches in the body maybe, or the body wants to move, or you have like tasks to do, or have to do the cooking, the cleaning, the washing, whatever comes up. And if people tell you, if you read somewhere, surrender that, it just means allow it to be there. Same thing, just allow it. By allowing it, you have an open system. So the energies can just pass through and they don't like interfere with your experience so much or not at all. So it really depends on how let's say how much surrender you can what's the word how deep your surrender is already, or how integrated. So basically, when you sit in meditation and you just surrender, like the aches and the stiffness and stuff like that, you just allow it to be there, the body starts relaxing right away. Or when you hear noises in the background that will usually disturb you and they're just there, whatever, system is open, energies are passing through, and then it's not a really big deal. If you say, no, I need to get up, I need to tell my neighbor to stop like hammering, and I don't know, my children stop screaming, then you have like, you engage in thoughts, you have tension in your system, you close down to the present moment because you're actually meditating at that present moment. So it's not available to you because you're engaged in something else. So this is where surrender is used. And like I said before, eventually surrender, so practicing that in meditation is perfect start to be in an undisturbed space, meditating and just surrendering, allowing everything that's there. So I also like the words allowing and accepting. They're a bit easier to understand. Eventually you get really good at it, right, in your meditation practice. And then you can also do that in your everyday life experience. You navigate through life, you do your planning, you do your actions, you do your things. But if things are happening that you don't prefer, mostly it's like then from the ego, right? The ego doesn't get what it wants. Then there could be resistance. The ego doesn't want this now. But then you can consciously understand, okay, it's just my ego because I wanted to have a certain outcome. I had a certain desire. And then you can just say, okay, no, I'm perfectly fine how life is presenting itself. Then you're opening up the system. You do it by yourself. Basically, then the energy can pass through. It might take a minute. It might take 5 minutes. It might take 10 minutes. So just that you know, it can take a little bit of time, especially in the beginning. And then the energy passes through and you just move on with your day and you're happy with whatever is coming up. The second option. So not the one you preferred, but like the other one. And usually, from my experience, it's always manifesting in a better way. So it's always better for you how it's manifesting. So the ego then doesn't know what's good for you, of course. Life knows what's good for you. So allow life experience just to unfold. And this is what it is about, surrendering to life. And like I said, eventually it's very natural. So surrender is there all the time. And it also means that you maybe are in a situation that you really don't prefer, that you really don't prefer at all, but the surrender is just there naturally, and that's it. And that's it. And this is basically very liberating because you just move through your everyday life experience. There's no persistence, there's no desires for certain outcomes. You just navigate through life knowing that everything is happening as it's supposed to be, everything is perfect as it is, and certain experiences just need to be made. Yeah, it's part of the human experience. So I also covered just a little bit around the topic. There's a lot more to talk about, but yeah, it's an important one, being on the path of spiritual awakening. So just know the surrender level can always be expanded until the surrender is there for good. So first you can just practice it, when you come into a situation where, so first in meditation, then in your everyday life, when you come into a situation where you realize, okay, the ego is now stepping in the forefront, which just can happen, right? Or also, so when the ego is already in the background, ego structures are still there, structures that have been fed by the ego. So energetically, they start breaking down over time anyways. So that's happening anyways, but they could still be there. And then also habits. Habit is a strong one. But when the ego is gone, in the background, the ego structures are broken down, and then there is still the habit left. It's very easy to break the habit. It just takes 1 or 2 times where the habit is not getting what it usually gets, and then it just breaks down, and then it's gone. So it's quite simple. Yeah, so that's what I can share about it. In the end, it's very simple. Practice it during your everyday life experience when you remember, oh, I didn't get what I wanted. Usually I would get angry. I would close down my system. And now I'm just, okay, even though I don't prefer the situation, it's just how it is. This is how life is presenting itself to me. It has the best interest for me. And then you'll see how it's manifesting afterwards. It's mostly in a lot better way. So the worst thing we can do is just say no to life, because then the system gets closed down. There's resistance. We keep the energies in our system. They get stuck there. We probably stay in these energies for days, weeks, maybe. We can always come back to them, always manifest, always bring them back, so we have the same emotions. Yeah, I mean, this is how a normal human system functions, but we kind of want to move away from that because it's not necessary. It just causes suffering for no reason. Okay, so yeah, let me know if you have any further questions. This is a way of explaining it, and thank you so much for watching, and see you for the next video. Bye bye.